Welcome to another episode of the No More Wasted Days podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Sara.
I'm Heather.
And today, Heather has prepared an awesome topic for us. She's going to talk all about the all or nothing thinking and how you can change your mindset as you're on your alcohol-free journey when it comes to this. So I'm going to let Heather take it away.
Yes. I know we talk about the all or nothing, like go big or stay home, all or nothing personality or mindset a lot.
Oh, yeah.
And we can't be alone in this compared or like looking at the day makers and folks I work with one-on-one and all the people in the world that we hear say, go big or stay home or all or nothing. So, and I've been pondering on this. And as y'all know, if I've been pondering on it or trying to work on it, I got to share it. So, all or nothing thinking or black and white thinking is a cognitive distortion that causes us to view situation in extremes without recognizing the middle ground.
Mm-hmm.
And contrary to what I would have said 5 years ago, it's rigid and perfectionistic in mindset. And I wouldn't have just put those two and two together.
No, I wouldn't have either.
And it can manifest in ways on your sobriety journeys. Here's some examples that are me to a T. If I have one drink, I've ruined everything, so I might as well keep drinking. If I don't feel amazing in sobriety every day, it must not be working. If I don't quit perfectly on the first try, I'm not capable of change. I said all three of those things.
Oh, yeah. Yep. And I mean, I feel that way in other areas of my life too. Like if I'm starting a new workout program or, whatever, I'll be like, oh, this isn't working.
This isn't working. It's been 2 days. It's not working. Done.
Yeah. It's 2 days. I haven't gained any muscle that I can tell. I'm just so excited for you to talk about this because it's something that I work with people a lot when they are like, well, I had a drink. Like the 30-day challenge is over. I'm like, what are you talking about? What if you got through the 30-day challenge and you had one drink in 30 days? Yes. That would be amazing. And it's like, you gotta flip. It's hard.
Yes.
But you gotta make that flip.
Yes. The perfect segue into the kind of thinking that sabotages our progress. The one slip means I failed. Exactly what you just said. Someone's gone 30 days and then they drink on day 31. Instead of recognizing it's a single moment to learn from, the progress is gone, might as well return to old habit. And I want y'all to reframe if this is you. One drink doesn't erase all the growth and work that you've done. Progress is cumulative, not fragile.
Oh, I think I need to play that line over and over when I edit and be like, you need to hear this, Sara, because I know I've talked about it. I am an all or nothing girl. I'm trying to change. I'm changing, not trying. I'm changing. And it is... oh God, it's so hard.
It is.
And I always think about way back in the day, after I had my twins, I did Weight Watchers and I had the most amazing leader. I think it's all about like who leads the meetings. And this lady was so awesome. And she would always say, well, so who cares? You went over your points budget for a day or whatever. She goes, it's like you have one flat tire. So you're just going to get out and you're going to go slash all the other tires. No. And it just fix that tire and then get back to work. And that's like the most perfect imagery for anything. If you're trying to be like, I'm going to make my bed every day in March, which is something I'm trying to do because I fell off in that area. Well, I missed like March 1st. And I thought, oh God, I can't even do the first day.
Yep.
No,
Done.
I was like, well, no, you got to learn what was different that day. Oh, was it the weekend? Okay, no big deal then. Let's keep going. Keep it moving, as Heather says.
Keep it moving. And number 2 is me. All these are me. I have a good example for this one. You have to be 100% perfect or it's not worth it. So this mindset leads us to giving up or not even starting. And if someone sets a goal to be alcohol free and drinks on a tough day, I hear all the time, I failed. Reframe. The goal is not perfection. The goal is learning, adapting, and moving forward. Here's my example. That was this morning. I've been wanting to do this 21-day reset for candida, for like gut microbiome.
Yeah.
I haven't started it because I was like, well, can I have caffeine? Can I and I have to wait for the perfect time to do this thing because I'm not going to have sugar. It's March. I have been talking this way since January. It's okay. I'm driving. Like, nobody's going to come in and grade or be like, is that creamer in your coffee?
Right. Oh, you
Nobody.
failed the challenge.
You failed 21 days. If you're not 100%, you're done. Your candida could never be healed. You're just a lost cause. So I think it really gets in our way,
Mm.
even trying to quit drinking. I did mine. Then clearly I still have the same thinking. So I was like, I'm just going to do it I'm just going to start on Friday. And there's a reason for it Friday because I have some days where I can like withdraw from sugar and not have to be amongst the peoples. I think it's pretty smart. But if I kept waiting for the right time, is there really ever a time for me to not have sugar if you've listened to the podcast? Probably not.
Right? There will be an excuse all the time. It was the
Mhm.
same way when I decided to do my my cleanse from caffeine and go 100% no caffeine. I went for 20 days, which was perfect. It's what I needed. But I did. I thought about, okay, I'm going to do it on this day. Okay, I know the withdrawals won't be so bad on the first day. They'll be really bad on the second day. We won't be building. That'll work. Second day happened to be election day. And the election did not go my way. And I was just like, oh my God. And I was texting a friend going, this is so hard. And da, 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 da. And he's like, just keep going. It's so worth it. Just get through the first like 3 days. And I was like, okay. And it was. I got through it. I made it through. And now I've figured out how to not be all or nothing with caffeine because that was a fear of mine that I was like, oh my gosh, I've given up everything. What's next? Sugar, which now I'm hearing you do. And I'm like,
Mhm.
okay, yeah, I probably need to do that. But I love hearing like it doesn't have to be all or nothing. And I think that that worked. Like sometimes there are times where you need to withdraw and you need to get it out of your system. But yeah, now when I have a little bit of caffeine, it doesn't send me into a panic attack. It doesn't send me into an anxiety rage. I'm very calculated about how much I have now. And it doesn't feel controlling or, I can
Yeah.
have a cold brew if I'm out and about and I want one.
I think that is a really good segue too into extreme labels. And people have asked me before, like, Heather, why do you not like labels? This is a good reason. A lot of folks will say, I'm strong or weak or good or bad.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you've labeled yourself with such strong verbiage, like strong, weak, good, bad, like it's just a lot of weight to carry, number one. And then turning down alcohol might make you feel very strong, but if you're tempted, they may see themselves as weak. So if you realize everyone has challenging moments, right? Like I haven't even started this reset cleanse and I'm already like, nope, done. Can't even do it. Can't do it right if I don't follow it to a T. And I'll never be able to follow probably anything to a T quite like that. But my point is that everyone has challenging moments and the reframe is strength is about resilience and how you respond to the challenges, not just avoiding them, i.e., me.
Yeah. Taking it on and seeing what happens. And yeah, no, you can totally do this.
Hmm.
And it's going to be so good for your mindset work to think about
Right.
things in a different way. And I think that that's one thing too. When you quit drinking, you're kind of like, oh, I quit drinking. I can do anything.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you can't do anything. Like things don't go as they did with alcohol because for me, it was an easy line to finally draw when I was ready because I knew I didn't need alcohol to live in any capacity. And not that you need sugar to live, but it's like, it's it's everywhere. It's in your food. You do need food to live. So
Yes.
it's a little bit different, right? But yeah, it is like, oh my gosh, I'm strong. I'm weak. I hear that from people a lot
Hmm.
too. Like,
I'm
I
good. I'm
failed
bad.
again.
I was
I'm
good
so,
today. I was bad
yeah,
today.
I'm such a failure. I'm like, no, you're not. I always have to remind people, like, no, like, alcohol is an addictive substance and
Yes.
you've become addicted to it and it's a habit now. And habits are really hard to break.
Right.
But, like, oh my gosh, no, it doesn't make you weak, it just
Yes.
makes you human.
And two, like something to think about rigid success versus the failure mentality. All or nothing makes people believe success should be linear, and it's
Hmm.
not. And if things don't go as planned, they may feel like they've lost all the progress. So
Yeah.
the reframe is that progress is a spectrum. One setback doesn't erase the forward movement you make. Like if I put creamer in my coffee, it's not going to erase my cleanse that I would have never done as a drinker, just so y'all know.
Well, you wouldn't have been able to drink alcohol.
Well, true. But just the idea, a 21-day reset of anything, I would have been like,
Oh,
no.
yeah, forget it, right?
So, why is this type of thinking harmful? It creates necessary shame and guilt. So, You've already got a lot of shame and guilt, likely from maybe having the slip. When you pair up like the, well, I've slipped, I might as well just keep drinking, you're increasing your likelihood of giving up. And you create inconsistency, making it harder to build long term change. Then you're more stressed, then you're more anxious, and then you turn like sobriety into a constant pressure test rather than a journey of growth and self discovery.
And doesn't that sound nicer to have a journey of growth and self discovery?
Yes.
Oh, that sounds nice.
And it is, I see so many folks, and I say the difference between my story is like I just had to quit on a Sunday.
Yeah.
And some people are like, oh my God, that must have been so easy. Absolutely not. It was one of the single hardest things I've ever done. I've done a lot of hard shit.
Mm-hmm.
I make it sound easy, but I'm like, yeah, I just quit on April 11th, 4 years ago. Sure, it sounds easy, but you don't hear the whole story. And it has been one of journey and growth and self discovery, truly. Not all in one day, but instead of looking at like the constant pressure of like, oh my God, I'm having my second year of day ones, like I did, I learned a lot in those years of day one. So,
Yeah. I know for me, people are always like, so you just decided one day and it worked? I was like, my mind was finally made up. That's what it was. And I say it, and I was still a little bit like, maybe this won't work and I'll go back to drinking. Like I was keeping that open. Like I was like, I'll try it out. But I got pretty invested pretty quick. But I had done, when you talk about cleanses, I had done 21-day cleanses like probably 3 times because Beachbody had one back in the day. And I loved it. I loved how I would feel when I would do it. I would feel so good because I wasn't drinking alcohol. I wasn't drinking caffeine. And I was eating all whole foods the whole time. You ate a lot when you did it. And it was basically, it sounds similar to the Candida reset, but it's like I would get done with that cleanse. Oh, and I would just start drinking. There was no learning that was happening during it. They were always like, and when you get done, you should then reverse and work the way back. And I was like, yeah, fuck that. I did my 21 days. So for me, it was like, I just wasn't in it. I wasn't invested in it that way. But I had many times like that where I was like, oh, I'm going to do this reset. I'm going to do 30 days. And I would make it to like 23 and I'd be like, oh, that's good enough. And I think that the important part when you're talking about this progress over perfection or the figuring out the navigating that all or nothing is that you're learning. And all of these moments are always learning moments. And if you're not going into with that mentality and you're going into it like I did when I would do the 21-day reset, well, then that's not going to work. So really go into it. I hope that made sense. Go
yeah,
into it with like an open mind where you're ready to have that self discovery, which my alcohol free journey has totally been a journey of self discovery to the point where I can't even put it into words. Like I wish that I could, but it's amazing. And it did not happen all in one day.
right. And when you look at the long term, like the reason I'm doing this reset has nothing to do with the creamer in my coffee. It has everything to do with feeling better and having more clarity and less sugar cravings in the long run. So try to think about your long term vision
Yeah.
instead of your day to day perfectionism. And I love this, the data, not drama approach.
I just saw it and I was like, oh, I like that.
Yeah. Because I always say, like, we're collecting data, but I like the data, not drama. It just lands for me.
Yes.
And when you react emotionally to your setbacks, you can look at them like data point.
Mm-hmm.
What triggered the slip? What can I learn from it? How can I adjust moving forward? This avoids self judgment and encourages self compassion. Is it hard? Yes. Is it helpful? Yes. So I
Mm-hmm.
think it's just like data, not drama. Like sometimes, I mean, I was just real dramatic. I keep going back to the damn sugar in my coffee, but I got dramatic in my mind about like, oh my God, the withdrawals, which sugar withdrawal cannot be as bad as my alcohol withdrawals. So,
Yeah, because your alcohol withdrawals were hard.
yes, very.
Yeah, you're gonna have like a headache. Like,
Oh,
you're
I'll be
gonna
good.
live.
Oh, good. But yeah, like I've already like we can dramatize like the outcome. We haven't even started. So,
Yeah. You can text me when you're doing your withdrawals and I'll be like, drink some water and take an Advil and
right,
get over it.
right. See, I hadn't even thought that I could take an Advil. I already went like, again, all or nothing thinking. So, before we start into the latter part of the episode, I want to ask y'all to take a look at the notes or the show notes, rather. Check out the Daymakers and one on one coaching with me. We can talk about this very topic. And I clearly have some understanding, and I promise not to talk about my coffee creamer. So,
Right. Coaching sessions won't be you talking all about you.
no, 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 no.
And
But
they will definitely be you helping people figure out themselves, figure out that self discovery. Because, God, that's hard.
yeah, yeah. When we look at success, we could look at that on a spectrum as well. And I think the most important part of looking at success on a spectrum is it's a range. There's no on and off switch.
Mm-hmm.
And if we celebrate the small wins and view the challenges as stepping stones rather than barriers, we're going to be far more successful on the spectrum.
Yeah. I love the idea of it as a spectrum.
Yeah, we don't
It,
think about success on a spectrum, do we? It's either you
no.
pass or fail, or
Mhm.
you're good or you're bad, or
Yeah.
you suck or you don't.
Well, and even the like when you, which people will show their graphs of like, what people saw and people just saw you shooting up to win, but what the reality is, and they'll show the little jagged graph getting there. It's kind of like when you look at your alcohol free journey of like a year of day ones and
Yeah,
then finally going, okay, I've finally got this. I know how I'm going to try it this time. Here we go.
I think too, we could think about the 1% rule. This is what's been helping me with my household chores with the all or nothing mentality, aiming for small, consistent improvements rather than drastic changes, meaning the house is a wreck one day and it's you could eat off the floors the next. So focus on what you could do today. And
Just 1% better.
1%.
Or even 1% different, not
Hmm.
even thinking better,
Yeah.
right?
Then we can think about the gray zone, which for me in this particular area, I'm like, what? So embrace the nuance and flexibility. And you can apply the 1% rule for a little while and it'll help you with the gray zone because then you'll understand a little bit better that the discomfort and the cravings are natural.
Yeah. I think that that's so important, and I forget that sometimes. Like, of course, like I'll coach people through like, okay, well, you're having a craving. What's going to help this right now? And I'll start offering some different mantras that worked for me. And I'm like, or is it simply knowing that it's going to take about 15 minutes for it to pass? And that every time you get through a craving, the next time it'll probably be easier and shorter.
Hmm.
And it's like, oh yeah, that's 15 minutes of discomfort. It doesn't sound great, but it doesn't sound terrible. Like it's not going to be waterboarding, okay?
Right.
It's just
Right.
going to be 15 minutes, mild discomfort, get through it, and then you're going to feel proud of yourself. So I like that. That's kind of what I see as the gray zone. Am I getting it right?
Yeah. And it's really interesting. Like social workers by nature think in areas of gray. We think
Mm-hmm.
about, we embrace nuances, we're flexible, we understand things are natural. We get that. But now apply this to the rest of my world? Nope. And it's my
I
it's
only
the
laugh because
same
I'm like,
world. I'm the same person, but the disconnect, woo.
mm,
And then, of course, self compassion. So I want y'all to think about a time where you felt you failed and write down what you learned and write yourself a compassionate message. There'd be some good data in this little
yeah,
exercise. Yes. And then the pause and plan technique. When you're having a craving or there's going to be a difficult or what you perceive as a difficult social situation or something comes out of you out of nowhere, pause and just think about the feeling. You can start small. Am I angry, anxious, hurt, and then plan a positive action to take. So I have a particular system in place to manage some pretty big stressors in my life right now. Is just knowing that I have that plan B. I don't know when the thing may happen, but I have the plan B makes me feel better. And it's a
mm-hmm.
positive action instead of,
Yeah.
something not so great.
I think I forget the pause part a lot. Pause, have a moment, come up with some plans, and then like start figuring it out. Like I forget the pause, identify your feelings when I'm in it or when
Me
I'm
too.
having like a Cheeto craving. Cause guys, me and the Cheetos still battling or
I just
winning. I don't know what our relationship is like right now.
It's complicated. It's
It's
nuanced.
very complicated,
Think
but
too, like what helped me start pausing is just counting 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now, when I do that, I automatically know that I'm going to ask myself, like, what are you feeling? Mad as hell? Okay, plan B, positive action, or whatever the emotion may be, right?
yeah,
And if you train yourself to pause by counting, which is something I love, or like humming, singing, that can really help.
I like the idea to count Good reminder.
Yeah. It's so simple. The hardest to learn are the least complicated. So
Uh-huh.
think about the power of an identity shift. Emphasize your identity, the opposite of labeling. Instead of, I'm trying to quit right now, I'm a person who prioritizes my health and well being. I could have said this morning. See? Now I
Yeah.
know what to say when those doubting thoughts come up about something I haven't even started.
You have your mantra or affirmation. You're
Mhm.
ready.
I'm a person who prioritizes my health and well being.
The power of identity is huge. It
Mhm.
it's the biggest thing. To start going, I'm a non-drinker. Oh, okay. I like the way, like, figure out the one that you like. I'm alcohol free. I don't drink. I'm a non-drinker. I'm sober. Which one sounds the best to you? And be like, that's the one I'm going to start telling myself then.
Mhm. Yeah, it's a really powerful
Mm-hmm.
strategy. And I want to encourage y'all to find one way you'll challenge all or nothing thinking this week. Remember, there's no on and off switch with your alcohol free path, and that it is a journey. And sometimes I used to get really pissed when people would be like, it's a journey. I'd be like, oh, I don't like that word. And I don't make the rules. So I try to allow for some self compassion. What can you learn? How can you grow? And it's definitely not to minimize that this shit is hard, because it's
Mm-hmm.
real hard.
Yeah. And I think it's important to remember too when you say like it's a journey, it is. And you can never get complacent. You can never stop walking the journey or doing the work. It is like, okay, I'm going to keep working on this because it's important to me. And it's something I think about. Like I shared, oh, I'm almost 6 years alcohol free on social media. I don't know what post it was or anything. And a guy said, keep going. There's something called the 7 year itch. Don't fall into it like I did. And he goes, because now I'm, 3.5 months. And I was like, thank you for the reminder. I need to hear this. And not that I feel cocky on my journey in any way. I feel like I'm in here making sure I know it's important and knowing it's something that I need to always be thinking about. I also say that and I'm not obsessed with it. Like, I don't want people to be like, oh my God, all she does is go through her day and she still just thinks about this all the time. Absolutely not.
No.
But I have little things I do that I know are important to my sobriety.
Oh, yeah.
And it's so when I have a moment where I want to have an identity shift back to my drinking self, I can go, no, it's not going to happen today.
Yeah. It's totally the way my alcohol free path is. It's too good to change it.
Yeah.
And I believe that my rent to it is due every day. So I have to do the things so that I don't go back to a life that I know
Yeah.
sucks.
Uh-huh. I know that one.
Yeah.
So I'd like to keep going on this one that's still pretty new to me.
So let us know what you think. If you're a fellow all or nothing, let us know.
Yeah.
You can comment on YouTube or Spotify because it's on video. Find us on social media. I would love to hear y'all's take. So, fellow go big or stay home folks. So,
And you were talking about comments, and somebody commented on our last episode that you did. We're recording a few today. So it was about the one about confidence, the one where nobody knows this, but everything went wrong on the recording and we had to restart like 3 times.
yes.
But we got a really nice comment and I wanted to read it. And I was like, oh, I screenshotted it this morning because I knew you might not see it. But she said, hi, Sarah and Heather. Great episode. I found Sarah on Twitter about a year and a half ago, which I don't think I'm on, but I don't know. Just when I started a 100-day challenge. I have to tell you that listening to your podcast have not only helped me stay on my journey, but also when I feel like saying F it, I plug in and my resolve to stay on track stands firm. Just a huge thank you. So
Oh,
I know I had to read that to you because I was like,
thank
oh, Heather might not
you.
see this if I comment back right
I
away.
haven't seen it. Thank
So
you. And you're a badass.
yeah, I know I was like, what a baddie. So
Yeah.
when you guys comment, it means the world to us. Like
Yeah.
it's a big
I'm gonna
deal.
go find it. I'm gonna screenshot
Oh,
it
good.
because it's
I
gonna
know.
make me feel good.
I know.
So,
And that's the thing too. Just know that we sit here and we screenshot them and then we go look at them sometimes when we're
mhm.
like, ugh,
Yeah, because it really helps. And keep going on your journey.
it's totally worth it.
It is. All right. We'll see you next week. Bye, y'all.